and he's right here.
Right now!
Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Howdy! That's my version of the Minnie Pearl thing. Y'all look up Minnie Pearl. She used to go, howdy! Welcome in, welcome in. Lord have mercy. Is anything going on today? In the sports world? Reckon anything's happening out there, JB?
Cloak and dagger, man. Cloak and dagger.
I mean, it just kind of seems dead out there, right?
Yeah, nothing happening.
Y'all picking up my sarcasm? Welcome in! I better get going because we got a short time and a whole lot to squeeze in. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio, Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance across the great state of Mississippi. Available to you in all 82 counties. Face to face, right there, nose to nose. You can meet with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent so that you get to know them personally and stuff. You know, text them when something pops up insurance related as opposed to having to deal with somebody you never see. It's a great thing about Farm Bureau. It's very, very personal, and that's the way it ought to be. Today is personal to me because it's Hump Day, and I love the Humpty Dance song. Happy Hump Day! Here we go. Happy Hump Day. You made it to the halfway point of the week, and there is a news drop today. The Big Ten is back. I wonder if anybody in the Big Ten is doing a Humpty Hump today. So y'all text me on the Country Pleasing text line at 885-ESPN, 885-ESPN, or 885-3776. Either way you text, I'll get it here on the show. And enjoy hearing from you that way. The Country Pleasing Sausage text line. Call me on the Davini phone, Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. You're a Kubota dealer. The number to call me is 995-1059. 601 number, 995-1059. Love to hear from you. And everybody watching the live stream of the show on Facebook, Periscope, and on YouTube. Hey to y'all! Happy Wednesday to you. Joy, the first comment on Facebook, says, watching Egg Bowl again. So sweet. Joy! Is it a joyous occasion? She's watching the Egg Bowl replay. Danny in Ringgold, Georgia says hi and Hail State. So thank you all for tuning in. Yeah, the news today is the Big Ten is back. That popped out there a little bit earlier here today on this Wednesday. I guess it was a release. Look, here's the fact of the matter. Okay, I'm going to own up to y'all here at the start of the show, tell you what's up as we get into this news. JB, today is the birthday of the homecoming queen.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised you didn't take off.
Well, you know, I had a day earlier in the week. I took off and all that.
Yeah, but that was necessity.
Lisa says on Facebook, good afternoon, Matt. Happy birthday to Annabeth. Thank you very much, Lisa. Yeah, we've been celebrating the homecoming queen's birthday all day today. She is, well, I'm not going to tell you the age because that would be uncouth, right? But I will tell you that, JB, you know, some people are big into and about celebrations.
Right, like some people celebrate their birthday month.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I know.
Well, it's like today. We're going to get to spend a day or two in Vicksburg with her family next week. And we're going to take a cake down there and have like a birthday celebration next week. Even though we've really been celebrating her birthday up here today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So she, getting to know her has taught me how to celebrate things. Because let me tell you, man.
That's a great compliment for your wife.
Well, look, it's go big or go home on anything like that. Yeah. My birthday, our daughter's birthday, anybody in the family having an occasion, it's big. Okay,
so you're saying when that little girl gets ready to get married,
oh my heavens,
it's gonna be on like Donkey Kong.
People are like, you better save up for your daughter's wedding. I'm like, why? No matter what you save, it won't be enough. I promise. But anyway, she celebrates big. So we've been celebrating her birthday today. We had a lot of special things, you know, and it's so neat how our daughter she is me made over on the outside.
Right.
My eyes, my feet, my hair when I had it, like she's me made over. But on the inside, she is a carbon copy of her mother. In her soul, in her attitude, in her countenance. And I'm so thankful for that. And that little kid woke up 30 minutes on a school day now, 30 minutes earlier than she normally does, and could not wait to surprise her mama this morning with birthday stuff. And, a little cupcake with a candle in it and presents set out on the table and wrote her a note and all these different things. It's just a lot of fun. And so anyway, the point I'm making is I've been a little more preoccupied this morning than I am most mornings leading up to the start of the radio show. JB, I haven't done the normal show prep. I'm being honest.
That's okay, man. Neither does Chris. You'll be fine.
Well, I know we'll be fine. But so all that big lead in to say that while this Big Ten coming back to football stuff was popping up today, all over the place, it's on Twitter. I'm getting notifications from ESPN on my phone. It's just everywhere. Popping up notifications. Big Ten back. I didn't tune into their press conference if they had one. I don't even know if they had one. I know there are quotes out there from Kevin Warren, the commissioner of the Big Ten and all that. I didn't track it and follow it second by second like I normally would prior to a radio show.
Right.
So when I give you these details, just understand a lot of it's new to me too. I'm not going to click on an article here that says Big Ten football to resume the weekend of October 24th. Some of these details I may not have seen. Now, the one thing I have sort of engaged with on this story today is the inevitable, the obvious, the fact that the very same media people, sports media people, who have been critical of the SEC and the ACC and others for proceeding forward, they've been openly, consistently critical of the Big 12 for proceeding forward. They pointed and snickered and laughed and made fun of Nebraska for outwardly, openly wanting to play, even though the conference wasn't going to. Those same ones are now hypocritically mute of any criticism of the Big Ten for now deciding they want to play.
That's because their point is moot.
The point is moot. Maybe they have finally realized that, JB.
Yeah.
That
they've gone mute because the point is moot.
That'd be a good rap lyric.
Yeah.
We're going to turn you into a rapper.
No.
But anyway, you're exactly right. So that's the thing I have engaged with, and I will give you some of my tweets coming up. Let me give you the details first. I would love to know what y'all think about this too. Hi to everybody on Facebook. My mother, who's tuning in from Wetumpka, Alabama on the Facebook Live, she still has internet. She says she's riding out Sally.
Man, that storm is dumping some rain. I saw some photos of Pensacola this morning and got a friend in Fort Morgan that is trapped in his neighborhood. They still, it's not any damage so far other than his fence, but he can't get out. All the trees are down.
I mean, and when the storm, you're going to need a kayak to get around anywhere in a lot of those places.
I don't know about you, Matt, but I've been through about 13 hurricanes in my life, and I don't wish those on anybody.
I bet. I've never been through one. 13, huh?
Well, I lived in Baton Rouge for a few years in elementary school, and then working at a church, postgraduate school, and then living down in Centerville for a while, too. So that's, 30 miles north of Baton Rouge. So
Yeah. Yeah, no fun. She's riding it out. Wetumpka's up in, a much northern part, so she's getting a lot of rain and big storms. Not on the coast, but coast got hit pretty tough. All right, country pleasing text line. Peanut Butter Falcon says today is my dad's birthday also, so happy birthday to him. To Peanut Butter Falcon Sr., wherever you are. And the real Eric said, Matt, I asked Bo this question this morning. He says, I guess it wasn't about food and drink. He just looked over it. What do you say? If this corona mess is around for the 2021 season, it will be, Eric. I mean, the virus isn't going anywhere. It's here to stay. You say, but I know what you mean. Is it around without a vaccine and that kind of thing? If it's around for 2021 and the Pac-12 or Big Ten do the same shutdown football, could it possibly cause the AAC to become a Power 5 conference? Sorry about the run-on sentence. Well, again, talking about moot points, it may be a moot point now, Eric, regarding the Big Ten, because the Big Ten is going to get going again. Now all eyes are on the Pac-12. The thing about the Pac-12 is, in reality, they do have in some of their markets a much higher COVID rate still right now than other parts of the country. Jason, who lives in Flagstaff, Arizona, who listens to the show in Texas, has pointed that out. And he's right. There are some places out there in the Pac-12 footprint on the West Coast, LA and other places, where it's a lot more touch and go than it is in other parts of the country regarding the COVID positivity rate. And they have the wildfires going on, air quality in certain places. They've got a whole different set of things they're dealing with right now in the Pac-12.
And you speak of touch and go, and I look at the last sentence in his text.
Whose text?
Says, sorry about the run-on sentence.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about the run-on sentence. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, it's
I
all right.
love it, man.
I don't mind it being a run-on sentence as long as it has punctuation in there that helps me to read it the way it's intended. The ones I have trouble with is where there's no punctuation, and a lot of times I get the meaning of the text, therefore, a little bit messed up.
That's pretty deep, because you never know the intent of the word written unless you hear it verbalized.
Right. That's a good point. All right, so the Big Ten is going to kick off its football season the weekend of October 24th. League's presidents, chancellors unanimously voted to resume competition. So they did have a vote. Here's the thing about it. Citing daily testing capabilities and a stronger confidence in the latest medical information, and they made that announcement this morning. That's key. Now, that's just the first paragraph of the story, y'all. Okay? But me, you, and everybody together, let's be educated on this together. Let's think together. We don't have to agree, but let's all think. Think for yourself. Don't just listen to what I think and just buy into it always. Just, think for yourself. But think about this. In order for the Big Ten to have canceled things and shut it down when they did, in order to shut it down when they did, they had to have something by which they were shutting it down, right? Does anybody know what that was?
You mean like a reason?
Yeah, they had to have.
Yeah, they had to have a reason why they were going to shut it down.
They had to have reasoning, something to back it up why they're shutting it down. In order for them to reverse that, theoretically, they've got to have a reason to open it back up.
A re-reasoning.
A re-reasoning. A re-remembering. Thank you, Roger Clemens. Or a misremembering of what they thought before. Whatever the case may be. But they have to have some more information. So they have to point that out. This is not just a theory. This is a great likelihood. If this took them a week to get their ducks in order just to make the decision. Let's say they decided a week ago. Remember a week ago y'all were hearing about there's going to be a vote, there's going to be a vote. Remember Clay Travis had sources telling him they're going to start on October 17th. They're going to start on October 17th. Remember that? That was a week ago.
What about what you said yesterday with the Nebraska president? The mic was open?
Yeah, he knew it was hot.
Yeah.
He knew. He's trying to be first. And look, the fact is they all knew, okay, for a while now. But they had to get their ducks in a row. What's the reasoning going to be? And how is it going to be explained? Those questions are coming.
Are you going to believe it when they say it?
Right. Can it be passed off as believable? So, citing daily testing capabilities and a stronger confidence in the latest medical information. Let me give you a timeline. August the 19th, the Big Ten's decision, quote, according to them, will not be revisited. That was on August the 19th.
Yeah, they were firm. We talked about that.
And then, less than a month later, 3 days shy of 1 month, here we are, the Big Ten's decision is reversed. Now, they will tell you that public pressure had nothing to do with it.
Some people call that crawfishing, or as they say, the backstroke.
They are also already using their mouthpiece media, which they've been using the whole time anyway, already, y'all. Listen, 40, Thamel, they might as well be in bed with the Big Ten. That's where they've been getting their marching orders already, have been the whole time. And so they're already using a lot of that friendly media to make sure everybody understands that, like the White House and President Trump's phone call, and they're offering this and offering that, has nothing to do with the decision. Okay, so
it's
already
sensationalism. That's there. It's not journalism at all. It's sensationalism.
Yeah. Well, I think that, and the thing about it is, for the people that matter most in this, and that would be the Big Ten players and coaches and families of the players and coaches.
They were never consulted.
Well, and they were never consulted. They were never communicated with, JB. So
right.
Not just consulting, but just letting them know. Okay, but on top of that, they're not actually getting the credit they deserve for getting this thing, because they are the ones who got it going back the other direction. It has been players and coaches constantly. Not to mention, a lot of these same media people who now, they're kind of pleasant about the whole thing of the Big Ten. They got new information now. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they got new information, so they're going to play football. They're the same media who laughed and pointed and snickered and drug the name of Nebraska through the mud when Nebraska all along was saying, no, we can play. No, this isn't right. We can play. We want to play. Where are they now? Hypocrisy abounds, is what we're saying on all this. Having pointed that out, the media perspective is one thing. This is what I believe. They got back to playing football in the Big Ten on a totally different path than what the SEC took, the ACC, the Big 12. A different path. But they're going to play football now. Later in the year, yeah, but they're going to do it a different path. And at this point, what's the point in somebody like me or anyone else kicking the Big Ten and pointing at them and now dragging them through the mud for past decisions? I'm not going to do that. I believe the Big Ten is to be applauded for figuring it out, listening to reason, and trying to now proceed as safely as possible. There's no guarantee that everything will be safe. They're not going to allow any fans at any of their games. Okay. Well, who's to say they won't have postponements? They will. They may have to cancel some games. Sure. Just like everybody else. Everybody else is going to have those same things. As you pay attention, not because of deaths, no, but because of positive tests, and we're trying to be safe with the virus. Okay. So I'm not going to I'm not going to criticize them anymore for past decisions. I think they have turned and have in the best way they can, looked at everything around them, including other teams and leagues playing, and going, okay, this can be done. Let's get a plan and a date to get it done so that our kids can play. And let's figure it out. Well, we don't need fans. Okay, well, let's do it without fans. Well, for me, that's better than nothing. So I think they are to be applauded for figuring out a plan to go forward as safely and as responsibly as possible at this time, based on the information they have. Did they make the wrong decision to begin with? Yeah. Was it based on some faulty information, medical stuff? Yeah, as it turns out. But now they're going to get it right. So, the same people who are now, agree with me, you should be positive about the Big Ten returning to football. How is it that those same people are positive about the Big Ten returning to football, but have been critical of the ACC and the Big 12 and the SEC now for months? How is it? Those same people. Why? Anybody got an answer as to why? That's what I want to know. Why? We have theories. I think in some cases those things are not all that far off. On August the 19th, The Big Ten's decision is not up for debate. We shall not be moved on that. Less than a month later, reversal. What changed? And I would just say one more thing. There are media people right now, this very minute, who again are happy to get their marching orders from their Big Ten people who've been giving them marching orders this whole time, who are tweeting stuff right now with quotes from medical people about how, the research on myocarditis or this, medical data or this doctor or this research. Don't just give me the overall quote. I want specifics. I can take it. I can consume it. That's what I want to know. Don't be lazy. Yahoo and Sports Illustrated and everybody and ESPN. Don't be lazy. You can do it. You can get all the information you want to get. And put it in black and white on your website for me. Here's the information they used to make the decision they made, and here's the information they used to reverse it. Let's see it. What is it? Let me give you a hint. You will never get the truth on that. You'll never get it. It's not about medical research. It never was. This reversal, it's about some other things. But I'm glad it's about getting the kids on the field because they want to play, and that was a big reason for it as well. Just getting started. Stick around.
There's a lot of noise when it comes to 5G.
We're 5G ready.
We're 5G-ish.
At C Spire,
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with autopay and paperless billing. Even without autopay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasin' sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' sausage, countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please.
lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, it's got all.
It's the Matt Wyatt Show on 105.9 The Zone.
Back with you. Thanks for tuning in on this Wednesday Hump Day. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. For those of you that are watching the live stream, you'll be able to see this. If you're listening on the radio, you can hear this. You hear this? I got this packet of information that just came to my house. Look at there. A packet from C-Spire that says we are building fiber into your neighborhood. We're building your fiberhood. That's from C-Spire. Ready to bring home real internet speed? We're talking fiber internet coming into my neighborhood in Tupelo. I cannot tell y'all how excited about that I am. Gigabit internet. Look at here. This is page 3 of the packet. Gigabit is a word you don't hear much. That's because it's a speed you don't see much, especially not with symmetrical uploads and downloads. And unlike the other guys, we give you your own connection, not one your whole street has to share. Bring it on, C-Spire. I cannot wait. As soon as you flip the switch for gigabit fiber internet in my house, I'm in. You just don't even tell me what it costs.
Is the house for sale next to you?
Yeah, there's two houses down there is at a really good deal.
No, I'll just move in with you.
Yeah, speaking of costs, we're going to need to
Yeah, man, I can pay some rent.
All right. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Me and the missus will just pack up and show up one day.
Well, I got a couple of questions for you. One, do you have a pressure washer?
I do.
Okay. Check. You have a boat?
No.
Well,
I have access to one.
Oh. Well, we'll give you a 0.5 for that one.
Okay. I have access to a large place where you can catch the same fish.
There we go. Catch the same ones over and over again and release them?
Yeah.
Let's do that. For those watching the live stream also, BMAC on YouTube said that he commented, he said, I watched the 99 Cotton Bowl last night. I didn't realize you punted in that game. Nice punts, and you were pumped when you pinned them inside the 5. Yeah, I felt like our team needed a spark. So I punted, this is against Texas, and I punted, and we pinned it inside the 5. So I start pumping my fist. I'm like, yeah, let's go. I'm trying to get the defense fired up. They'd had a rough day so far trying to tackle Ricky Williams. And
that was a New Year's Day game, wasn't it?
It was. I tried to get him fired up, JB. And I think I even remember one of my teammates kind of laughed at me. He was like, come on, Matt. Because, you don't usually see that out of your punter, let alone me. I never really got that excited. Maybe it was a little fake, but whatever. You do what you have to sometimes. All right, here we go. Country Please and text line, 885-3776. Scott texts the show and says, how many games are they going to play? Let me peruse this. Each team of the Big Ten will attempt to play 8 games in 8 weeks. What? Leaving no wiggle room during the coronavirus pandemic for the Big Ten championship game on December the 19th. So, unlike the SEC, who proceeded cautiously, they are coming back. They're going to get it going. But now they're in a position where they don't have any open dates. It's going to be 8 straight weeks for every team. If there's a postponement, it's effectively a cancellation. There's not going to be makeups. I don't guess. There's no Big Ten championship game because of that. Wait a minute. No, there is. No, it is. They just can't move it. That's what it is. So, I mean, if you miss a game, you're just going to have some teams that play fewer games. But anyway, to answer your question, Scott, what the Big Ten is trying to do is 8 games across 8 weeks beginning on October the 24th without fans. That's the other part of it. 0 fans in any Big Ten stadiums according to the conference. QB1 on the text line says, except for the Big Ten, anyone that tests positive for COVID is suspended from the team for 21 days. What do you mean, except for the Big Ten? You're saying any league other than the Big Ten? And then QB1 said, and if at any point 5% of the team is positive for COVID, the whole team will not be able to play the rest of the season. They're done. So the Big Ten is allowing football, but they're pretty much setting themselves up to fail if there is any spike of COVID. Okay, so you're saying that's in the Big Ten. If anybody tests positive, they're suspended from the team for 21 days, not 14. I think I did see that about the Big Ten. You say setting themselves up for failure. Look, we don't know this, but there's a great likelihood, QB1, that they adjust those things as it ebbs and flows once they get closer to the season or once they get started.
We had a caller that voiced the same thing, Matt. I think I sent you a text, and his comment was, I bet they don't have enough people that test positive where they have to quarantine.
Yeah, I'm not going to have very many positive
They're
tests.
not going to have 5%, test. But you think about it, if it's an 85-man roster, that's 6 to 7 people. Mm-hmm. If they test positive, then you got 21 days.
Right.
So So I understand what he's saying when he said set up to fail.
Right. I keep going back to this. The Big Ten is to be commended for turning around and trying to get this right. And that is, just proceed responsibly, cautiously. You're going to limit the season. Yes, if certain things happen, people are going to go into quarantine. You may have to postpone some games. That's where everybody is. That is the right way to handle it. It's the way high schools are handling it. It's just the pragmatic, makes sense way to approach the whole thing. In different places, different conferences, that there are differences in the attendance deal. Yeah, we can get 25% in our stadium in Starkville and Oxford and Hattiesburg here in the state of Mississippi. It may be 20% in Alabama. Who knows? We'll see. Whatever. Those things vary. They're not going to allow any fans in their stadium in the Big Ten. Okay, fine. That's you. But in terms of the players and the coaches and players' families, let them try to play and set up these standards. You got to meet these standards. We got to make sure we don't have this many tests, and we're going to do a few extra days for quarantine. Okay, fine, do all of that. They are to be commended for trying to figure it out safely, responsibly, to figure out a way to go forward, getting it right ultimately. But it still remains a fact that when they made the decision to call it off on August the 19th and cancel it on August the 19th, without any chance of revisiting their decision, they said back on August 19th, they said they were basing it on health and wellness information as it related to the student athletes and, medical studies. Y'all, it was a lie. It was not true. That's not what it was based on. Maybe there's a little bit here. Maybe we got to consider medical information. If you think them canceling it and the Pac-12 following suit on August the 19th was all about the medical and the safety, again, let me offer you some oceanfront property in Etowah County, as they say. Because the medical stuff we're talking about has not changed. They will tell you that. But show me the specifics. Where are they? You won't see it because they don't exist. Wholeheartedly a fact. But credit them for cooler heads prevail, and they sit back and go, because of pressure from alumni, fan bases, coaches, players' families. Yes, because of a virtual uprising there of pragmatic, everyday, good, hardworking folks who say, this ain't right. You're not doing this right. It's just wrong. Because a lot of them know that a lot of the factors go into it are wrong. For them to say, okay, we can't continue this. We got to sit down and figure this out. I'll tell you another thing. It's for their own good long term. I don't think this should factor into the decision making. Maybe it did. But it is best for the Big Ten in the long term. Because if you sit there and don't play, listen up, Pac-12. Listen up, California. I know you got issues. Yeah, I know you got outbreaks. And I know you have wildfires. I'm just telling you a fact. You don't get it going, you don't play. You're looking at years of second and third fiddle in recruiting to the ACC and the SEC. You just ain't going to do it. That's all. Hogjow, country pleasing text line. Do you think they will play because of the 5% guidelines on positive cases? If I'm reading it right, that would only be about 5 players on a team test positive, and that team is then shut down. Well, that's what JB was saying. You know, if you want to go like, not conspiracy, but lack of transparency. Yeah, you get 5 players at one time. But you think about this, though, Hogjow. I mean, is that really all that far off? That's all I'm saying. If you have 5 players, what if they are 5 players at 5 different positions who have been to 5 different position group meetings? Well, because of contact tracing, what? Anybody that came in close proximity and contact with that person who tested positive, they've got to be in quarantine for 14 days also. Well, if you get 5 players and let's just say that happened to be 5 different players, multiply that times each one of them came in contact with 5 people in the team locker room or something, or on the bus or in the dorm. What are we talking about? Now 25 players are in quarantine for 2 weeks? You just about might as well shut it down if that many have to go into quarantine just because of contact tracing. So I don't know that it's necessarily all that far off. It is different, but it is what it is. Y'all stick around.
Let nothing. Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? country pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing Sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence or order it online or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first
Show.
ones to make
On 105.9 The Zone.
I like that. The man said playoff caliber sports talk. I like it. I'll take it as a compliment. Welcome back to the show. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go with the home team. They are your home team. Farm Bureau Insurance across the great state of Mississippi. Reminding you, I'm still sleeping good at night on that Nest and Wild mattress. Y'all check that out. nestandwild.com. It's a Mississippi-made product. Everything in there, 100% American-made. Mississippi company, I know the folks. They're really good people. Everything there, the mattress, the base, top to bottom, it's all American-made products. Every mattress they sell at Nest and Wild is 12 inches thick. Not 10 inches, 8 inches thick like a lot of the ones you buy, you're sleeping on now. Every one, from twin all the way up to the largest king size they have, is 12 inches thick. And it's a great product. You order it, it'll show up on your doorstep, a new mattress, one of those where it's like, shrunk in there, airtight, so the box is smaller than you think. It shows up on your doorstep in 3 to 5 days. And then you have up to 99 nights to sleep on it to make a decision if you want to keep it or not. It really is a heck of a deal. And they are great people making a great product. We love ours. We have a California King. And yeah, the two little miniature schnauzers jump up there and enjoy it as well. So check them out, nestandwild.com. And if you use code BULLY20, that's BULLY20, use code BULLY20, you get 20% off and a free pillow top mattress cover to go with it. So check them out at nestandwild.com. How about this? Beaver's former neighbor, Steven, on the Country Pleasing text line. I love that. His name is Beaver's former neighbor, Steven. Says, so we were talking about this Big Ten stuff. He said, it's because the majority of the states that make up the Big 12, the SEC, and the ACC are Republican states. And the media is full of left-wing journalists that aren't really journalists. They are political activists that have infiltrated the news business. In a lot of cases, Beaver, it's hard to argue that. No, sorry, Beaver's former neighbor, Steven. Let me give you a prime example. Thank you, JB. This is so, on cue. I saw this earlier as well. A woman who writes for the USA Today online titled an article today, Big Ten's decision to play football signals the darkest day in the conference's sports history. Larry Nasser? Jerry Sandusky. Whew. But about the nicest thing, well, I started to call names, but I won't. But about the nicest thing you could say, I said this on Twitter. This one is like a dying fish flopping around on the deck. Might want to just kick that one back over in the water and let it go where it came from. That might be what you want to do with that column. About the nicest way that we could say it. Bully Bill on the Country Pleasing text line said Michigan's governor will sabotage the plan. I don't care what your political leaning. She's an idiot. That's from Bully Bill. On the Country Pleasing Sausage text line, 885-ESPN, 885-3776. Real quick, what about the Pac-12? They just have a whole set of factors that they're dealing with. They're dealing with wildfires in part of their footprint, COVID outbreaks in others. It's a different deal, I believe. I will say, though, that you have a bunch of Oregon football players who were all over Twitter today demanding to play. Let us play. We want to play. Let us play. And I couldn't help but think, JB.
Yeah.
You remember that Pac-12 players unity group that supposedly represented every player in the conference?
Yeah, or the cornerback that opted out last week that you went off on.
I don't guess those guys necessarily represent the kids at Oregon that are demanding to play football, do they? I don't know.
Doesn't seem that way.
I sarcastically said, it's hard to figure out who's in the unity group and who isn't. Well, in this case, it really ain't that hard to figure it out. Mailman David said, do you think it'll be fair for them to play less games and then get into the college football playoffs having not played as much? Yeah, I mean, they're scheduling 8 games with no open dates.
But they've got a +1, I think.
Do they?
I think so.
And they're going to try to play their conference championship game.
Yeah.
Well, so no, I don't think it's unfair. I think it is fair to include them in the playoff. They're going to play. Everybody's having some type of abbreviated season, whether they start a month after the SEC or not. The SEC's building in effectively 2 open dates, one in the middle of the season for everybody, one right before the conference championship game for everybody. That allows them to work around some postponements, which they will have. So there's a chance you may have some Big Ten schools, David, who play all 8 games and have some SEC schools who only play 8 games. Does that make sense? And so I'm okay with it. It's strange for everybody. So if they jump out there and, you have some schools with 7, some schools with 8 games, some schools with fewer, they'll just have to factor that in. And I think that's okay to do. All right, Davini Equipment phone line. Y'all head on over to Davini Equipment, Highway 51 Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson. And if you go up there to Madison, Gluckstadt, tell Jonathan I said, hey, sneak up behind him. Do that. Walk in the door. Sometimes when the air gets cool, they'll prop that front door open, so sneak in there and get right up behind Jonathan McMillan when he's not looking and go, hey! And watch how good of an athlete he is. He's still a good enough athlete, he'll jump 3 feet off the ground. Davini Equipment phone line, Drug Dog, hanging on. What's up?
Hey, Matt, I have not heard this discussed, but I figured if anybody in the sports world knew the answer to this, it would be you. So quite a compliment to you.
No pressure. Dadgummit.
Got your head built up, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Since this year is a gimme year, is there any talk about KJ Costello coming back next year for another year?
I have not heard any talk about it. No, like I said, I haven't heard any talk about it. However, Drug Dog, you are exactly right. It would make perfect sense. If, let's say, there's another injury early, mid-season, even late season, you get banged up just right, where it might affect draft status or working out for a combine, that kind of thing, it would behoove him to come back and play a full year, healthy, and another year of experience.
Yeah.
No question. And certain positions are different also. Like, I'll put it to you this way, like a running back, because of the wear and tear on the body, he's trying to get into that NFL as young as he can get in there. So go ahead and go now.
Right.
Whereas a quarterback, there's more value on you as a quarterback if you're coming into the league at 25 or 24 as opposed to 22. So the position plays a factor, I would just say that even though I hadn't heard anything about it, it would make total sense for him to absolutely be open to that depending on how this year goes. Now, if he goes out here in 10 games this year, and let's say they play all 10, and they upset somebody, and he goes and throws for 320 yards a ball game, then see you later.
Yeah. All right, second question. I saw that Orgeron announced that a lot of his players had COVID. Is there a remote possibility they may cancel that game, or do you think it's on full bore? Then I'll let you run.
Yeah, I think it's, as of right now, Drug Dog, it's on full bore. And, I have some folks at LSU that I'm friends with, and we direct message from time to time, and it's the kind of thing where if that were going on, they'd give me a heads up, and I haven't gotten any of that. And I think I took that comment in the context of over the long haul, just about everybody's come in contact with this, but they're all recovered, and we're hoping now it's a thing where they don't get it again. But I haven't gotten any indication that they're on the verge of having to cancel that first game as of today. That's my answer.
All right, Dave. Hey, man, great show. Appreciate the comments, and we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, appreciate it, Drug Dog. Again, I would tell you, too, you're asking about, something that a guy like KJ Costello might do. This has been such an odd year because of isolating the football team, wanting to make sure that you don't, let a bunch of people get around the team. Media can't even get around them. I have not been around them nearly as much as I normally would. And so a lot of times the exchanging of information or just in general conversation stuff that I might have access to, rightfully so, we haven't had those opportunities as much. Just, the way it is. And I think everybody kind of understands that right now. So, that's the big news today is Big Ten's back, coming back in late October. They're putting a little more stringent guidelines on their teams as far as numbers of positive tests and all that in order to be able to play ball games. Okay, understandable. We may criticize that and go, it's easy for us to go, why would they do that? If the whole country says contact tracing, you came in contact with somebody with COVID, you got to quarantine for 14 days, why would they decide 21? Well, if you look at it, the Big Ten actually canceled this thing. They've always been a little overboard on this as compared to others. So that's kind of actually in line with their decision-making on this thing. It's just like going here on the beginning without even saying they're going to consider future data. They went ahead today and said, we're going to play no fans in any of our stadiums all year long. Well, to me, that didn't make a whole lot of sense. Big open-air outdoor stadium. It's hard as all get out to spread that thing outdoors. I've read studies where doctors are saying, hey, man, just go outside. I know it's not that simple, but it's primarily being spread in big group gatherings indoors. So I don't understand the shutting the fans out totally thing, especially in college football. All right, hour 2 coming up.
There's a lot of
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. They've got the 360-degree interactive drone touring. It's really cool. You got to check it out. And if you're selling property, Matt's going to get you consistent reports, comprehensive reports of who's looking, how many people looked at your listing. You need to let him help you. Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Call him, 601-408-5155. Hey, if you listen to the show, you know that the new third hour of the Matt Wyatt Show is brought to you by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Here's what you need to know. If you're looking for a weekend home or condo, full-time residence, investment property, maybe just an apartment to lease, you got a student going to school at State, call Kane Overstreet at Overstreet Properties. In Starkville, it's 323-8618, or look them up online, overstreetproperties.com.
Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Okay, hour 2 underway here on the show. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau Insurance studio. Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team, staying connected to you because of C Spire, the number one network in Mississippi. Hands down, it's not close. C Spire, customer inspired. JB sent me a picture of a snake. JB, that's your buddy at Entergy, killed a big rattlesnake, huh?
Yeah, he runs around the backwoods of Hinds and Warrens counties, fixing people's lights and getting their, power restored and things like that. But he's always sending stuff out like that. He'll probably go home and cut it up and eat it.
I know a guy who eats any snake he kills.
Yeah.
I know a guy. Yep. And if it's big enough.
Chicken hawk?
No, it ain't chicken hawk. Well, it might be. I just don't know that about him. It's somebody else. But if it's big enough, too, he'll skin it and turn it into one of those, like, snake skin deals. He'll tan it, and then hang it on the wall. Sure. Those people exist. They sure do. A few things here in the comments, and then I'm going to get to something I want y'all to hear that happened yesterday. Some things that were said yesterday. I want you to hear that. Pretty much first hour, we kind of covered the news of the Big Ten coming back to college football. They're going to play starting at the end of October. That is their plan. Pac-12 up in the air. Now there are rumblings that you even got some coaches out in the MAC. Wait a minute. Yep, the MAC, MACtion, that are starting to talk a little bit about maybe they're coming back.
Yeah, you figured it'd be a trickle-down effect.
It will, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, but let's see who's left. The MAC and the Pac-12 and
some of those independents.
Yeah, I saw where UMass is saying, "Now, look, we're not playing this year." And you can understand that. I mean, UMass can't get a schedule up now because of being independent.
Would you say they're lost? You lost?
What do you mean?
Well, they just...
Oh, UMass?
Yeah.
You lost.
You lost, yeah.
UMass, you lost. Yeah, I get it. Well, I mean, that's it. They don't have a conference. So they're kind of stuck. And it's understandable where they are. Real quick, on the Country Please and text line, and then I'm coming to a couple of comments on the live stream on Facebook and YouTube. And then I want you to hear some things that were said. I will be jumping over to the phone line in just a bit. First up, though, unnamed texter said, "Don't you think this was 99 to 100% about the governors and high elected officials, possibly in response to pressure from high-ranking national officials, together with school presidents, both on August 19th and today?" Yeah, a little bit of a reversal. And if there's just no way to know, like, specifically until, like, 20 years from now, somebody will write a book about it and have alleged details of how all this went down and how much political pressure there was, or how much, and right even now, you got people starting to cover the whole, did Donald Trump help this thing get off the ground or did he not? I don't know. But is there the potential? You say 99 to 100%. I don't know about that much. I don't know. Did it play into it? No question. The whole political spectrum on both sides. Did it play into this? Yeah. To what extent? Who can really say? And then Green Okra said, "Please don't go political. Need sports, not politics." Yeah, I agree with you on that. You know what else you need? Chicken hawk. On the Divini Equipment phone line, 995-1059. Speak of the devil, Mr. Hawk himself. What's up, Chicken Hawk?
Yeah. Well. First off, man, there ain't no such thing as just a little bit, because you pontificate so doggone long. And I got 3 things I got to get off my chest. I only had 2 till you started talking about them governors. Mm-hmm. Now with the Big Ten. That I wanted to call her a heifer, but that's wrong. I ain't gonna call her no heifer. But that young woman, that's the governor up there in Michigan. Do you really think that communist woman, with all the crap that she's done and still doing, is she gonna let Michigan State and Michigan actually play football? Seriously?
Well, and let me ask you this: why does she have the power to tell them they can't?
Well, why does she have the power to do all the crap she's done and all these other governors? Because they think that they can write one of them executive orders, and that makes them God and whoever else in between and around.
I agree. Okay.
And that's state money. Look, that's state money too. Hey, them colleges there get that state money.
Mm.
So hey, but there may be some folks that pulls her little string. That be giving that money on the backside over there. She's saying, "Look here, woman. We're gonna tell you right now, this is where it's gonna be. Now you done what you gonna do. Now we finna tell you what you gonna do." Now that could be going on. You reckon?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. It could.
Okay, now here we go. Let me ask you, listen, I brought this up with a melon head yesterday, and I'm finna bring it up with you because the Beeve said you were supposed to be in. You and Dr. Brother Brojo were supposed to be in yesterday. And look here, I don't get paid to listen to that doggone liberal national ESPN. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
I get paid to work for ESPN 105.9 Pickens, Jackson, Mississippi, the zone. And I got to talk to Kevin because I only got, them 2 weeks I was in IR, I only got one paycheck. I bet you and Melonhead, y'all just keep rolling on with the dough, don't you?
Who's Melonhead?
Is that Jake?
That's Brooks' name.
Oh, Brooks.
Hear me tell you. The reason he's Melonhead, he don't like Guru. I was going to call him Guru, then somebody else called him Guru. He went all off in this trying to act just as humble as Jesus still yesterday. And so, Carla Danger is the one that spilled the beans. Because, Brooks, he a Melonhead, he is a child of privilege. He's kind of like Bo. He's a child of privilege, and he went to private school. So, Mr. Melonhead there, my friend there, Carla Danger, spilled the beans. That's what they call him in school, Melonhead. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got a good friend we call Fathead.
Well, they got them things that I ain't seen them Fathead commercials in a while. Before y'all get me sidetracked, though, look at here now. Have you talked to Jonathan anytime lately?
Yes.
Okay, are we going to have the big shadoo he always has over there, for hunting and all that?
Well, I think so, because he sent me a very leading text the other day that was kind of one of those, hey, when you thinking about coming down this way? Because he knows I haven't been in a while. But I think we may be getting at something like that. As soon as I know, I'll let you know.
Okay, now, I'm going to drop this on you.
You got 30 seconds, Chicken Hawk. 30 seconds.
I got all of y'all a present. Lou Bell ordered it, and it came in yesterday, and you thinking you're going to get some more of that deer meat. But Bee's supposed to come to the crib Saturday, so I'm sending every one of y'all. You too there, Brojo. Dr. Brother Brojo. So see y'all. Love you. See you.
Chicken Hawk. He nailed it. That man can count 30 seconds when you tell him 30 seconds. So he's going to bring gifts.
He ain't no dummy.
No, he may play one on TV, but he's not really a dummy. Chicken Hawk, good to hear from you, man. Thanks for calling. What did he say? He's like Bo. He went to private school. As if that's a bad thing. It ain't a bad thing.
No.
It's really, I mean.
It is what it is.
Well, maybe there used to be a huge difference. I don't know if there's much of a difference anymore.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I don't know that many kids that really choose where they want to go to school.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Usually what mom and daddy.
What mom and dad say.
Or other factors stipulate.
Or jobs or moving or, that kind of stuff. Bully Bill on the Country Pleasing text line just said, debatable whether he's a dummy or not. All right, earlier on the text, White Denzel says, now that the Big Ten is back, will Ohio State be the first team to be ranked second in the first AP poll, to unranked in the second poll, to back to second in the third poll? Maybe so. And Denzel, look, if it's not Ohio State, the next most likely candidate for that to ever happen to would be like a Notre Dame. They'd do it. Or Tennessee, who's always overranked. I'm not saying Ohio State overranked, but yeah, number 2 in the poll. Well, they're not playing. All right, they're out. Now they're playing again. All right, back to 2. What if they lose the first game? Now they're out. There's a really good text there, Denzel. Appreciate that. I got this message earlier on the live stream on Facebook. Let me see if I can find this. Okay. No, it's on the YouTube live stream from someone named Merrill, who we were talking about outbreaks in different parts of the country. And speaking of the Big Ten, where Iowa is, Merrill says, I live in Iowa City. We already have an outbreak here. He says when football starts, it will just increase. I don't know that it will because they're not putting anybody in there. I mean, it's just going to be 2 football teams in the stadium, and that's it, Merrill, in the Big Ten, according to what they're saying they're going to do. All right. How many of y'all have been interested in the quarterback battle at Mississippi State? You kind of know what you know, right? Like you know who the starter is and all this. But yesterday at State, right after practice, they sent KJ Costello, QB1, and fresh out of Brandon, Mississippi, QB2, Will Rogers. They sent them right up to the podium to answer questions with the media. Their first appearance as a, member of the depth chart there this preseason at Mississippi State. First chance for people to ask them questions and all that kind of stuff. So I want you to hear some of that and a few other things as well. All right, first up, KJ Costello. By the way, they asked him, they said, has Mike Leach come to you, KJ, and just basically said, hey, you're our starter? And he said, no, he has not really done that. He's all about competition. He said, but I've been taking the reps with the ones pretty much all throughout camp. And so he knows, and the team knows. You don't have to announce it when you really know who the starter is. But here's KJ Costello, a chance for you to hear what he sounds like. Starting quarterback, Mississippi State, Stanford transfer. He was talking about his experience so far of going through things, lifting, running, and now practicing at an SEC program.
From day one, the effort and attitude of this team is something that's inspired me, and I've respected as well. I've definitely seen coming to the SEC, the slogan they always say, it means more. I've seen it just in the day-to-day practice. 7-on-7 dudes, damn near going live, which is awesome to see. Guys are battling for roles on the team, fighting for starting spots. So I've really highlighted the idea of, me wanting to be a catalyst, elevating the guys around me, making sure that I know my job through and through. I haven't been in this system for 4 years. So I'm putting a big emphasis on making sure I do my job before demanding everything out of everybody else. But I think as a whole, everyone's starting to kind of come into their own and kind of understand their roles and know where they're supposed to be on the field in this offense, in the scheme.
That's KJ Costello. All right, what about knowing the offense? Remember, that's been the question. What's it going to be like with a new quarterback and a shorter time to prepare to get to know the offense? Is he going to have a full grasp of the offense in week one? Here's Costello.
Before we ever really stepped foot on field, I felt like I knew all of the concepts on paper. So from walkthroughs, I don't know, I'm in camp right now, but that started, maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. It's been putting what I know on paper into real life. And the plays, what a lot of people don't understand about this offense, and I've seen so much tape from Washington State, is one play can play out, 3 to 6 different ways. So making sure that my eyes are in the right place and I'm kind of sensing what's going to happen before it's happened.
So knows the offense. A little bit of an explanation from him. Sven, who's watching on the YouTube live stream, says, for me, Costello is a starter right now, but Rogers is the future, without question. Patrick on Facebook said, question for you, could KJ not enter the draft and come back next season since this year does not use a year of eligibility? He can come back, but I think if you enter the draft, stay in it. Certainly if you hire an agent, then you're gone. There'd be a certain time where you have to make sure he's not in and declaring for the draft and then come back. And I don't know what those stipulations are. I don't really keep up with it. Do I know that if he goes out and has a banged up year or maybe subpar, a little out of sync, and wants to come back and set records next year with the team, he could do that. Throwing a football, and you're right, he'd have an extra year of eligibility. So Will Rogers, true freshman from Brandon High School, is your backup quarterback. He's ahead of where normally true freshmen are for several reasons. All right. One is the fact that he's comfortable with the offense because he ran a lot of it in high school at Brandon High School last year.
Yeah, I'm extremely comfortable in this offense. We did the same thing in high school. It was very similar. A lot of the same plays, things like that. It was just called different stuff. So when I'm out there with those guys, I'm just trying to score every possession, score every drive, and I'm extremely comfortable in the offense.
Extremely comfortable in the offense. What about his relationship with Garrett Schrader? The incumbent quarterback who started last year as a freshman, led state to some wins, including in the Egg Bowl. Will has beaten him out for the backup job, and because of his athleticism, Garrett Schrader has moved to receiver. What about that relationship?
Yeah, Garrett's great. He's a big target, big athletic guy. He can really run. And yeah, actually his first day receiver, we actually connected on a long touchdown pass, so that was pretty cool. And it just showed Garrett's upside and what he can do with the ball in his hands.
So that's Will Rogers. Really, really throws the ball well. Has a great command of the offense for a true freshman. Now, that's in practice. Games are different. Playing against, it's a high level of competition that he played in high school. No question. The Madison Centrals, the Warren Centrals, yes. It's a high level of competition that he played against in high school. It's a whole different deal when some 5-star from LSU is coming off the edge over here, next to a 4-star that weighs 330 pounds, next to a middle linebacker who's 23 years old with 2 children and a 401k. Okay, it's different. So that takes a little getting used to. KJ Costello's been there. The experience has helped him win the job. But Costello said yesterday that Will Rogers, the freshman, reminds KJ of himself when he was a freshman.
He reminds me a lot of myself, not to pat myself on the back, but me coming in as a freshman, just really eager to play, really eager to get reps, not gun shy. He's willing to fail, which a lot of times freshmen are kind of timid at times. I think we really molded our relationship when we kind of looked at each other when we were here in June, July, and hey, we got a month and a half. Let's team up and teach this offense to the guys. We're not really trying to compete. We're competing, but at the same time, it was on our shoulders he had ran a little bit of the system in high school. I had to absorb a totally new system. And we were kind of leaning on each other's shoulders to communicate effectively to everybody else what they were doing. And, not a lot of people will probably mention that, but I think that's going to pay dividends this year in terms of how we were effectively able to know the whole offense. If you came out to the first 3 practices, most of the guys knew everything they were doing.
And that's saying a lot. So there's your quarterbacks. KJ Costello, QB1. Will Rogers, QB2. Over in the other division, the other Bulldogs, Georgia, over in the Eastern Division, they still don't know. As of yesterday, Kirby Smart, head coach Georgia, said it's up in the air. It's likely going to be a game-time decision. They have 3 guys who've already been on their roster, but, of course, JT Daniels, who transferred in from USC, the former 5-star, who's uber talented. And he said yesterday it's going to be a game-time decision, even though they know right now that JT Daniels has not been cleared. But listen to the qualifier statement that Kirby Smart threw in there when he said, yeah, he's not cleared yet.
JT is not completely cleared yet. He is practicing with us, as he's been doing. And if we didn't think he was going to be cleared, then we wouldn't be practicing him. But he's continuing to practice, and so is DeJuan Carson and Stetson. And as far as we can tell, it'll probably be a game-time decision.
How about that? JB, I love it when coaches just tell it just like it is.
Yeah, they don't use coach speak.
He said, he's not cleared, but if we didn't think he was going to be cleared, we wouldn't be practicing him.
Right.
In other words, he's practicing because he's going to be cleared by the time the game gets here.
In other words, ask another dumb question.
Yeah. Listen to this from Kirby Smart. I love this. Now, you, JB, who like puns and alliteration,
yes,
are going to love something that he said in this comment. Kirby Smart was asked, as you get closer to the game, does the intensity in your practices change?
I don't think intensity ever changes personally. I'm a big believer in intensity, focus, concentration. I mean, we've got a motto around here: casualness causes casualties, and we just don't believe in that. And I think the minute you stop having intensity and a purpose, you're not coaching. So every coach has his own style, and mine is to be intense and demanding, and the players respect that.
Casualness causes casualties. I knew you would like that.
Oh, look, man, we had a coach my junior year in high school, and he would get on the offensive lineman all the time. He would go, "Man, you just crawl up in the hole and get fat." And I'm thinking, can you hear a coach right now? You crawl in that hole casually.
Yeah. Casualness causes casualties. Stop being casual. That is great. You know, Kirby, he's starting to sound like a veteran coach all of a sudden. Hey, and before we go to break,
he sounded ticked.
Yeah, he did. He always sounds that way. I think he got that from Nick Saban. I want to read this from Hog Jowl. I think this is the best text I've gotten all day. Music has started, Hog Jowl, so I don't have time right now. I'm going to read your text as soon as we come back. I do think it is the best text that we've gotten all day.
Since you're not going to do that, I got an opinion on Kirby Smart.
What's that?
I bet if you put a piece of coal in his booty before a game, it'd be a diamond by the end.
Yeah. He's intense now. But he played on defense, and they just kind of naturally are that way, you know. And he hung out with Saban for a little while. How could he not be that way? That's really good.
And best friends with Muschamp.
Yeah, exactly. Hog Jowl, your text coming up next, and then I'm going to let you hear something Saban said. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasin' sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' sausage, countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from it. check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, "Country pleasing, please."
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it?
You
need to let
Matt Wyatt Show.
Live in the studio.
Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Back with you. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau Insurance studio. The bald guy. What's up, bald guy?
I mean, you're technically not bald.
Brother from another mother? Yeah, I'm just taller than my hair is.
Yeah.
The bald guy says, I agree with Chicken Hawk. When y'all are not on, this station stinks. Hey, bald guy.
That's a nice compliment.
Bald guy in more ways than one. Let me just say something to you. Real, recognize real. Triple R, baby. Real, recognize real. On that note, real, recognize real callers. 5-star callers. What's Chicken Hawk if we're doing the star ratings? What is the star ratings for our callers? Speaking of a 5-star caller, he calls me Mr. Go Gators! Gator Greg joining us on the Davini Equipment phone line. What's up, Greg?
Hey, Mr. Wyatt, I'm like Chris Jones. I started out a 2-star, and then you have developed me into a Super Bowl champion. That's a compliment, Mr. Wyatt. Your Chiefs, real quick, if they play defense like that, and you got Edwards-Helaire adding that dimension to take a little pressure off of Mahomes, and I just thought it was a workmanlike effort. You really think those Chiefs really clicking? They look like they're going to be right back in the hunt back there in Tampa, playing for another Lombardi. I was really impressed with your team the other night. But I really was calling you about what do you think about this Big Ten coming out and playing, and also the little wrinkle. We when you have a pandemic, people do some different things. About playing that week of the championship week with all the teams in the respective divisions matching up, kind of almost like it's like a bowl deal. I guess if you could call it like the little Big Ten bowls this year. What do you think about that?
I think it was done out of necessity, but I don't mind it at all. But my thing is, Greg, like, I think it's good if those games happen. And I've kind of gone into all of this, the SEC schedule, the Big Ten, how they're doing it without an open date, like you said. I've just kind of gone into all of it cautiously optimistic because I sort of feel like, don't you, Greg? Everybody's going to have a postponement at some point. I mean, I'm doubtful personally that the SEC teams get all 10 games in. What do you think?
I agree with you, and we have some latitude. I think the deal kind of maybe is if you have the 9, then I guess if you have somebody at the Big Ten that there can get in that playoff conversation, it's going to be interesting this year. Because I really think even though the league, the SEC, is going to beat up on each other, I think the possibility of, say, like a Georgia, Alabama, or somebody you might have even with 2 losses, the way it's shaking out, I think the Big 12 has almost eliminated itself. If Texas or Oklahoma slip up more than once, I think they just only take one out of that conference. And then you might have a ACC, probably likely Clemson. And how about you got Jeff Collins? Great win for head coach Collins.
Yeah.
We had him down in Florida, too. But great job, Mr. Wyatt. Can't wait till you get ready and talk about your game prep next week. You're broadcasting your first game during the pandemic. We look forward to hearing you and Neil on the call. We turned down Brad and Gary on the TV and listened to you guys on the radio. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. Appreciate the call. Yeah, very much. I'm excited about it. Get into game week next week, and everything just starts to feel, in terms of preparation, what I think about every week, starts to feel normal again. Yeah, so really looking forward to that, Greg. Appreciate the compliment. Chiefs, the next two are much tougher, okay? People can say what they want about the Texans defense. Chiefs just chewed them up, spit them out. It was no contest, really. The score, 34-20, looks a lot closer than the game really was. But I don't really believe in the Texans defense as much as some people do. J.J. Watt, like him and everything, but he looks slow to me. He's getting older. He's been so banged up in his career. He's not nearly, I think, the athlete he used to be. He's good, but you're going to go to the Chargers, a division team that knows you very well. You know them well, but you're about to go to them, and then you're going to go to Baltimore. Let me tell you something. Baltimore is a real team. You want to have something fun to watch this week? Go watch that early season matchup in Kansas City last year between Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, Baltimore and Kansas City. They had a great game last year, and you got to go up there. So the next two on the road, fixing to be really interesting. They're going to tell you a whole lot more about whether the Chiefs are primed to repeat. Maybe. Can't even believe I'm talking about it. Or not. So there you go. Hey, I promised I was going to read this. Hog Jowl's text said this. I don't want to get anything started. Well, okay. He didn't want me to read it on the air. Let me just say this.
You can give the gist of it.
Let me just give the gist. Yeah. Hog Jowl, you're exactly right. That there are lines being drawn in media, in public, by a lot of people trying to categorize everybody. You are a Democrat. Therefore, you are this type of person. You are a Republican. Therefore, you are this kind of person. Y'all, it's just false. It's just false. One of the worst things that ever happened to any of us was this two-party political system. But in terms of how it comes to dealing with individuals, and just dealing with individuals on who they are and how they treat you and how you should treat them, and not based on how you want to categorize them, Hog Jowl, you are absolutely correct. And I really do appreciate your sentiment on that. And when I previewed a little bit ago, I didn't realize that it said, it's kind of for my eyes only. But I just wanted to touch on it. You are exactly right. Hey, as I promised you heard some coaches a minute ago. Listen to this. JB, now stop me if I have done this before. I don't think I've brought this up before.
Yeah,
on the show.
Though?
A Nick Saban comment about something they worked on in practice.
I don't remember us talking about this recently.
Okay.
I know Nick works on his post-practice press conferences.
Right. All right. So this is one of those. It's a post-practice press conference. That's hard to say. Post-practice press conference. It's terrible on a sensitive microphone. Plosives. Post-practice press conference. He said that in their scrimmage, they worked really hard, really intently on the last 2 minutes before halftime. Listen to what he said.
Obviously, we're going to have a second scrimmage, this weekend, and we're going to emphasize even more situations. Today, we had 2 minutes before the half. 2 minutes before the half was a bad thing. LSU scored 14 points in the last 2 minutes of the half, and Auburn scored 10. So those are the kind of things that the players have to really understand. Not only are we trying to score in that situation, but we can't give the other team the ball back so they get a chance to score. So there's a lot of those types of situations that we're really trying to, cover.
Think about that, what he just said. Leave it to Nick Saban to be able to dial into the exact thing that really, really hurt them last year. They gave up a grand total combined 24 points in the last 2 minutes before halftime against LSU and Auburn, the two games that they lost. 4 total minutes out of their season last year. If you don't think that the margin is slim and small, you think, why are they such sticklers for little bitty details? Why are they walking around like mad all the time when things are going pretty good and they got a good team? It's because they know this stuff. You can do everything right, but you play poorly on defense for 2 minutes before halftime against LSU, and for 2 minutes before halftime against Auburn, and gave up 24 total points in that 4 minutes of your season, and there are your 2 losses. They lost one of those games by 5 and lost the other one by 3. It's amazing. He can dial right into what it is just about every time. The real Eric, how about this text on the country pleasing text line? Matt, did you once say that Kirby Smart sacked you? Yep, he sure did. 1996, Georgia visiting Mississippi State in Starkville.
Was he on a safety blitz or something?
A little safety blitz. And I saw the blitz. Okay, I see it. It was a pretty obvious deal. But we got to get it out. And a guy I'm trying to get it out to got covered. He decides to adjust, which he should have, to try to get it up the field. By that time, this little bitty safety, okay, who's like this tall, jumps all over me like
water bug,
like a little chihuahua biting your ankles. Okay? And he grabs my arm and like pulling me down, and I'm trying to still get the ball off, and then I decide to tuck it away, and we go to the ground. And he sacks me. And I remember it because we get up. He says, you got to throw hot. I said, you're on defense. How do you know what hot is? You're not supposed to know that. I'm sure he doesn't remember, but I remember it.
Technically, you sacked yourself because he wasn't big enough, right?
You know, JB, the fact is, the story of my life, the story of my career is, you could just sum it up as Matt sacked himself. I mean, that's just kind of the whole idea, frankly. All right, hour 2 rolling along. More coming your way, including the head-to-head matchup of the week. Of the day, it is. It's coming up next. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C-Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bowl. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You
So
need to
does
let
he.
Matt
It's the
Anderson.
Matt Wyatt Show. Nobody breaks down quarterback play better than him. And he's right here, right now, online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
All right, back with you. Finishing up hour 2. Still a long ways to go. Hour 3 here today on this Wednesday. Coming up, presented by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Overstreetproperties.com. That's all coming up. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to have our Winsipedia head-to-head matchup preview this Wednesday. Look at a Power 5 matchup going on this weekend from Winsipedia.com, series history, and a few other things. And our head-to-head matchup preview every day, presented by Matt Anderson Properties from National Land Realty. And we'll give you all that info. Doggone on the Country Pleasing text line says, hot take, Garrett Schrader will be the Julian Edelman of the SEC this season. Well, I see it a little different, a little bit different type of athlete. Schrader's a little taller, longer. He's a heck of a matchup deal in a slot deal. He's fast enough to do it. I think he's done really well at practice. You heard teammates talking about him earlier in the show. You heard Mike Leach, I guess it was yesterday, what he said about him is paid him, very high compliments. But they run so much in a normal practice, the receivers do at state, and I think that he's got to get his legs back under him right now.
Did you say that was from Doggone?
Yeah, from Doggone.
Yeah. I wrote a song called Doggone one day.
What's it about?
From Philippians 3:2, it says, "Beware of the evil dogs."
Really? Very cool.
So, yeah.
You have to bring that guitar in there and play it and sing it for us one day.
I don't know what I'd subject the world to that. We might could do something.
Okay, do it. Bring it. Go big or go home. Let's try it. That's what I always say.
I've been trying to live that all my life. All I get is "You're killing me, Smalls."
You're killing me. Joe Pesci, the real Joe Pesci, on the Country Pleasing text line says, Matt, I want to hear neck. I know it has nothing to do with the discussion. Well, you know what, Joe? Maybe it does. Maybe it does, Joe. Neck from the Sonic Boom it might just be able to be our backdrop for the head-to-head matchup preview. Why not? Because it's my soundboard and I can hit them when I want. So the head-to-head matchup preview today is brought to you by Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. So if you're buying property like recreational property, hunting, fishing, timberland, investment property, building a home, maybe lakefront, any of that, he'll help you. He's got the land 360-degree interactive drone touring. You can see it without ever even going out there. And if you're selling property, he'll help you with that too. Get you comprehensive internet traffic reports for who's looking at your listing and how often and all that kind of stuff. That's Matt Anderson, 601-408-5155, 601-408-5155. So the matchup we're looking at today from Winsipedia. It's a great website, great reference for college football fans. It'd be a great reference for sports talk show hosts and media and fans alike across the country. Y'all need to be aware of it. Winsipedia.com. Check it out. You can compare any two teams. The all-time series between Miami and Louisville. Miami and Louisville will face off this weekend.
For those of our listeners that may be trying to look up that because I misspelled it, it's Winsipedia.
Yeah.
Because it kind of sounds like it's Winsa, like Winsa, but it's Winsi.
Yeah, and you can just kind of Google it there. Just Winsipedia. There you go. Wins, and then the letter I, and then pedia. We'll get it in there some kind of way. All right, so this will be the 15th all-time matchup between Miami and Louisville. Miami, over the course of history, has kind of dominated the series, 10 wins to 3. But most recently, Louisville has gotten the best of it. In fact, all of Louisville's 3 wins in the series have come in the last 15 years. Before that, it was all Miami. So 10 wins to 3 in the series. There was one tie in there somewhere. Okay. The largest margin of victory in the series, Miami beat Louisville 45-7 back in 1985. Longest win streak in the series was Miami won 7 in a row from 1979 to 2004. So they had a matchup between the two teams way back in 1933. Miami wins that one 33-7. Played again in 1949. Miami won it 26-0. Okay, and then we fast forward. 1979, Howard Schnellenberger, the head coach at Miami. Vince Gibson, head coach at Louisville. 1979, Miami wins 24-12. The next year, 1980, Miami wins 24-10. Then in 82, 83, 84, and 85, Miami won 4 in a row. 28-6. 42-14, 38-23, and 45-7. In that 4-game win streak for Miami in this series with Louisville from 82 to 85, the first 2 were under Howard Schnellenberger. But in 84-85, Miami was playing under Jimmy Johnson. You know who was the head coach that last year for Louisville?
Howard Schnellenberger.
Howard Schnellenberger.
I was going to ask you the trivia question. Schnellenberger coached at Louisville before he went to Miami.
Yeah, it's true. He's been to both. They got a back and forth. They did not play, let's see, from 86 through 2003. They didn't play. And then they played in 04. Miami won at 41-38. Okay, and then this is what I'm talking about. So Louisville's 3 wins have come since 06 in the last 15 years. They've won 3 out of the last 4. They beat Miami in 06, 31-7. Beat them in 2013, 36-9. That was with Teddy Bridgewater. Beat them in 2014, 31-13. And then they played again last year, and that was Miami. Manny Diaz getting the win in Miami, 52-48. 27. So just a little bit of a look. They haven't played a ton. Lopsided early, recently lopsided, but Miami got a win last year. And so that head-to-head matchup preview at Winsipedia.com. When do they play this weekend? What time's that game kick? Let's see here. I'm going to find it. Is that the ABC game? Yeah, 6:30 on Saturday night on ABC. And if you just want rankings, I'll give them to you. But Miami right now is ranked 17th. They beat UAB the other night. I guess Thursday night last week. Louisville beat... Who Louisville beat? Western Kentucky? I think that's right.
I think that's correct.
That's it. Louisville beat them, and so Louisville's ranked 18th. So technically you're going to have number 17 versus number 18 in that ball game. Yeah. Let's see here. For the U, Miami. 11th in the country with 5 national championships. Louisville does not have any national championships in its history in football, even though they've been good and certainly have been competitive. All-time wins, Miami is 45th. It's a little surprising. You would think they were winning games 100 years ago, that they'd be a little higher on 45th, but all-time wins, 629. And they have 2 Heisman winners. Do we know who the Heisman... Can y'all name the Heisman winners from the University of Miami?
Toretta and...
Yeah, you got one in 92, Gino Toretta.
Yep. I'm trying to think. I can't remember the other one.
Vinny.
Oh, yeah.
Vinny Testaverde, quarterback.
Vinny and the Jets.
Vinny and the Jets. That's right. Vinny Testaverde, quarterback, 1986.
Right. Should have been Vinny and the Jets.
Vinny and the Jets. How about Gino Toretta winning the Heisman in 92 and then played Alabama in the Sugar Bowl for the championship at the end of that season for the national title, and Alabama won it, and Alabama's defense absolutely shut down and embarrassed the Miami offense. You remember that game?
I do.
For that Alabama defense at 92 year, they had Eric Curry at one defensive end, had John Copeland at the other, both high NFL draft picks, and Miami's offensive line could absolutely do nothing with them the entire game. You have never seen, go back and watch it. You've never seen a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback advance to a national title game like that and be more helpless in the game than Gino Toretta was.
I'd say he was a little discombobulated during that game.
He was bamboozled.
He was.
And that was the play.
He was saying, this is nonsensical. Y'all better start blocking.
Hey, and look, that was a game where Thomas or whoever it was, the receiver for Miami, ran his mouth all week. Remember George Teague ran him down and took the ball away from him?
He did. Number 13 in your program, number 1 in your heart.
George Teague. Teague was a man now. He not only did that.
He played some serious ball in the league, too.
He was the one. People forget that George Teague was the one who interrupted Terrell Owens' celebration on the Star in Dallas. Remember when Terrell Owens T.O. was playing for the 49ers?
Yeah.
And he was going to disrespect the Star on the 50-yard line after scoring a touchdown, and George Teague ran him down and just, I'm talking about clobbered him. And when T.O. looked up and saw who it was, he was okay with it. He didn't do anything. He's okay, Mr. Teague, I'm gone. I'm gone, Mr. Teague. Thank you. Sorry. I apologize. Effectively. All right, hour 3 coming up. Y'all stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan, put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing Sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, you know, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. They've got the 360-degree interactive drone touring. It's really cool. You got to check it out. And if you're selling property, Matt's going to get you consistent reports, comprehensive reports of who's looking, how many people looked at your listing. You need to let him help you. Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Call him, 601-408-5155. Hey, if you listen to the show, you know that the new third hour of the Matt Wyatt Show is brought to you by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Here's what you need to know. If you're looking for a weekend home or condo, full-time residence, investment property, maybe just an apartment to lease, you got a student going to school at State, call Kane Overstreet at Overstreet Properties. In Starkville, it's 323-8618, or look them up online, overstreetproperties.com.
the Matt Wyatt Show. Talking about sports from around the world and right here at home. Streaming to you at thezone1059.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
All right, here we go. Hour three of the show. Presented by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio. JB is here. We're glad you're here too. Appreciate you coming on by. Grab a chair over there. Have a seat. Oh, yeah, there you go. Sit down right there. Have a seat with us here at the table. We'll chat it up with you for the next hour. See what's up in your life. We'll tell you what's up in ours. See if we can come to any conclusions. Overstreet Properties in Starkville. You headed up there? If so, check them out. If you need a place to stay for the weekend, several weekends, maybe you're going in for ball games, need a condo to stay while you're in town. Leasing an apartment for a student, maybe moving permanently or looking for investment property, anything real estate related. Go to overstreetproperties.com in Starkville and tell Kane Overstreet what you're looking for and he'll get you hooked up. Great people there. You'll be glad that's where you started. Trust me on that. Well, we have had some news today, haven't we? Did y'all see that? I'm sure you've seen it. Big Ten is going to play football starting at the end of October. That's what they say. They have some pretty strict stipulations on how they're going to do it, how they're going to get it started, and you know how many people have to be COVID-free and everything for that to work. I did see this note here being reported by Teddy Greenstein, who is a writer, sports writer for the Chicago Tribune. Northwestern Director of Sports Medicine Jeff Mahanes says antigen testing is so good it can, quote, detect a level of virus thought to be below the level of infectivity. In other words, so positive cases can be identified and isolated before a player is contagious. Greenstein said that's huge, and if it is true, then indeed it is. Yeah. So if that's the case, positive cases can be identified and isolated before a player is contagious. And yeah, you're right. If that's the case, it's huge because what does it do? You know, if that becomes available, widespread, it becomes proven, it can work, right? Then you test using this antigen, and it's going to detect a slight level that, okay, you've got it. You're not contagious now, but we've detected it, so we're going to get you treated and taken care of before you can infect others, and might help with the spread, right? That could potentially be big news. I tell you, there's been so many things out there, though, too. It's hard to know, like, what does it mean? You know, I'm one of 300 and 400 million people around here. How are you going to get it to me or to my neighbor or to my mom or to my dad? You know, I mean, there's just so many questions. But I thought I would pass that along. All right. I mentioned George Teague just a little bit ago as we were at the end of our head-to-head matchup preview. This week it was Miami and Louisville. We started looking at the series history. That led us to the Heisman winners for Miami, two of them. One of them, Gino Torretta. Remembered the national title game that Gino Torretta played in 92 against Alabama. Alabama's defense chewed them up, spit them out. Led us to the story about George Teague running down the receiver down the field, taking a ball away from him, and how George Teague in the NFL was the man who knocked T.O. off the star in Dallas when he was trying to disrespect it with his touchdown celebration. George Teague was the real deal, is the real deal. Fletch is on the Davini Equipment phone line right now with a George Teague story. What's up, Fletch?
Good afternoon, fellas.
Hey.
So talking about George and defending the star, I think that's there's a photo that they call, and it's defending the star. But when George was a DB, when he was younger, Bill Curry had recruited a couple of tough guys from California as DBs. And one of them was Mark McMillan. We talked about the little like 5'6" DB. So couple of guys from LA, pretty tough guys. and they would mix it up, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And George kind of fell in with them one time, and there was a little bit of a scrum, and he started kicking some folks in the pile, and I told him later, I said, because George is definitely a good dude, good, solid guy. He's a head coach and AD out at a high school in Dallas. Solid guy. And I just said, look, man, you don't have to do that. You're better than that. And I said, if not, just save it for the game. That's your own players, because this was practice. And he kind of said, yeah, whatever. Who are you? But when we had one of the reunions for the 92 championship, I don't know if it was 10 or 20, at some point after George defended the star. So I just said, hey, I kind of got on you one time about that little scrum in practice, and you're better than that. I said, but I couldn't have been more proud of you when you knocked T.O. on his can in Dallas.
Yeah.
And he just smiled. But I think if you recall, T.O., that was T.O.'s second score. He spiked it on the first one, and nobody reacted. George wasn't going to let it happen twice, though.
I see. So he kind of had a heads up. And I would like to go back and see it. I just have that image of him kind of, burned in my head. Number 31 for the Cowboys. T.O.'s going to do the thing on the star. And out of nowhere, George Teague was running full speed when he hit him, after the play. And what I don't remember, Fletch, and you may be able to help me remember, I would love to have been able to see in the stadium the Dallas fans' reaction to George Teague doing that. It had to make him sort of a legend among Dallas Cowboys fans, didn't it?
No doubt.
Yeah.
He is forever in Cowboy lore for that. I mean, that is without a doubt.
Right.
I mean, a lot of, if you watch any of his Twitter stuff, it's more people will contact him about, Bama fan for life because of stripping that ball in a championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboy fan for life because you defending the star. It's two teams, two deep-rooted sentiments.
Right. Absolutely. Didn't he, and George Teague, I think, he went to Jeff Davis High School in Montgomery, I believe. I think that was his high school. And, and let's just say it like it is. Even 35, 40 years ago, coming up in downtown Montgomery, you're either tough or you're gone. In a lot of that place. I'm not surprised that that's his personality, but you think about what you're touching on there, Fletch. A college program like Alabama, a pro organization like the Cowboys, and two of the most iconic things that have ever happened that are outside of the norm. Both of them just totally outside of the norm that were spectacular because nobody's seen anything quite like it before or since. One during a play, one after a play. And both of it because of the toughness and aggressiveness of George Teague, this guy from Montgomery, Alabama. It's pretty cool. Thanks for the story.
But tough, but he's got a good demeanor, and I'm pretty sure he finished his bachelor's in electrical engineering, if not civil. But I'm not positive.
Really? Okay. And he's a head coach at a high school out in Dallas, or just somewhere else in Texas?
In AD, yeah. No, it's one of the bedroom communities, Richardson, or I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
Plano somewhere. And two plays which will live in infamy.
Mm-hmm.
But technically, the one in New Orleans didn't occur.
Why is that? Oh, did they have to?
Remember, it got called back. It got called back, yeah.
Wait a minute. It got called back because of what? I'd forgotten that.
I can't remember if it was offensive penalty.
Okay.
Or what? But I'm almost positive. I could be wrong. Pretty sure it got waved off, though.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I'd forgotten that part of it. That's funny also. Appreciate the memories, Fletch. Thank you.
See y'all. Thanks.
See ya. Joseph, watching on Facebook, Teague had a solid career at Green Bay and Dallas. And that's right. I'd forgotten that he'd played for a little while for Green Bay. Fletch reminded us on the text line, brother Bill Oliver had the mojo on Torretta in that Miami offense, the 92 championship game. You go back and you watch that national championship game that year, Alabama versus Miami. It was, just Miami had the air raid before there was ever an air raid. Miami was throwing the ball all over the field, airing it out, Toretta, the big numbers, throwing it down the field vertically. And that's 3 or 4 years before it really got going at Florida under Spurrier. And it was that style of offense versus just classic, prototypical, stereotypical SEC football out of Alabama. They were winning every game like 14-3. That year in 92, Barker was a sophomore. They ran the ball control offense. They were not bad. They had David Palmer and Derek Lassick and some of those guys on offense. But Barker was a sophomore, and he wasn't, he didn't set the world on fire throwing a ball. He was pretty good, but they just controlled it on offense and beat people with their defense. They beat people 14-3, 17-0 all year. That versus that vaunted Miami passing game. And you're right. Bill Oliver, the defensive coordinator that year for Alabama, they go in there. And I just remember I was in high school, young high school, either freshman or sophomore, I don't remember. But watching the game and how it jumped out at me that Alabama put their defenders, at times all 11 of them, on the line of scrimmage. There were lots of times in that game where Toretta and that passing game would get to the line of scrimmage, and Alabama would have 9, 10, and even in a few cases, all 11 players had their toes on the line of scrimmage. And it freaked them out. On top of the fact they couldn't block those two defensive ends one-on-one. Their tackles could not block them. Eric Curry, John Copeland. You're right. It was a heck of a plan. Thanks for bringing that up. More bully on the country pleasing text line. Said, what does it say? Out there on Monday about Saban. Good try.
Maybe that was a text error. It said Jake put that out there Monday about Saban.
About Saban. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha. Jason in Flagstaff. Question, Brother Wyatt, JB. With the numbers better out here, talking about out west, except for one town, is there any way for the Pac-12 to fit some games in without Los Angeles?
I don't think they could do it.
See, you got
two of the main schools in the Pac-12 that are right there.
I know. How are you going to get it done without USC and UCLA? As a conference,
Well, granted, they're not germane to any kind of national picture, but, you still got Arizona State, Arizona, Oregon, Oregon State, Washington State,
Yeah.
California.
And again, Oregon had a bunch of players on Twitter today, demanding to play. Have you see that? They were tweeting it. I follow a guy who used to work for AL.com, and now he covers Oregon, named James Crepea, and he's out there and was retweeting about several players. Let us play, or we demand to play, and things like that.
I have found over my lifetime that when I try to demand something, it doesn't usually work out to benefit me.
It doesn't work. It's amazing, isn't it?
It's you got them 1 month they're demanding not to play, and now they're demanding to play. Make up your mind.
It's kind of like trying to convince somebody else of your opinion by calling them names. It never works, does it? It just never works. Speaking of Twitter, let me run. I'd like to run through a few tweets with you. Would you mind? Tweedly diddly dee. Tweedly diddly dee. I'd like to give you a tweet or two here, huh? Yeah,
man, I love that tune.
I do too. Facebook will take this one down, but I don't care. Whatever.
You're not demanding anything, so it's okay.
That's it. Kirk sent me a tweet earlier. I'm Radio Wyatt on Twitter. There was a comment in a column at USA Today, that one you sent me earlier, John, where the woman was saying... Christine Brennan was saying the Big Ten's decision to play football is the darkest day in the conference's sports history. It's just asinine. And there was even a comment in here about the SEC. It said, Wednesday, the darkest day in Big Ten sports history, the day the vaunted conference caved, it choked, it got scared, it became the SEC. And Kirk sent that to me. And I just retweeted it and thought, what's her gripe with the SEC? Because the fact is, other leagues, and I tweeted this, other leagues have returned to play sooner, including both the ACC and the Big 12.
It's the words you put in quotes when you responded.
What's that?
South.
South, yeah. I mean, and somebody
they have
said that.
Preconceived conceptions.
Yeah.
You know, and until you come and be it's just like we have conceived notions of people that live in California, New York, and other places.
Yeah.
And until we, and I say collectively, get to the point where we're not basing the reality of somebody on our preconceived notions, trying to match them up with what we think they should be or what we thought they were. You know, let people be who they are, and if you don't get along with them, fine. You ain't got to hang out with them.
Yeah, the big, broad paintbrush never is accurate. It just never is.
No.
And in this case, it is. And you know what? The person who tweeted that is exactly right. Unfortunately, she puts the SEC in there. It's just patently unintelligent to do that when you've got other conferences who have begun play sooner than the SEC has. It actually, because of using the SEC in her pithy little example there, because of using the SEC, it takes away any possible intelligent credibility from what she's saying. It's kind of like calling names and expecting people to agree with you. It's just dumb is what it is.
Well, in some journalistic circles, that would be called malice.
Yeah, and some. It's just dumb. Here's one. Phil Steele retweeted the article from OregonLive.com. Oregon Ducks wide receiver Micah Pittman, quarterback Tyler Show, among the Pac-12 players demanding the conference and Governor Kate Brown allow football season to start. Folks, in the Pac-12, we had a player unity group supposedly thought that they represented all the players in the conference. They were going to boycott their season. Remember that a while back? They were going to boycott if they didn't get all their demands on the list. Well, so far they've gotten exactly none of those demands met. And now a whole bunch of players at one big Pac-12 school are demanding to play. I retweeted it and said it's hard to figure out who's part of the player unity group and who isn't. I would say here's one that here's a couple that I want to read to you. I tweeted this earlier. Certain media members have been very critical of the SEC, ACC, and others for proceeding, calling them stubborn. Where's their criticism of the Big Ten's reversal? Think about that. Where is it? And I followed it up with this thought. It seems to me the Big Ten should be applauded for finding a path to move forward and possibly play. But if a journalist has been critical of the SEC and others, how can they applaud the Big Ten without it being obvious, unabashed hypocrisy? See, they put themselves in kind of in a corner, and now they've painted themselves in the corner. The Big Ten flew out of that corner, but these folks can't fly. Tweedly diddly doo. By the way, JB, it's pretty funny right here. That tweet, certain media members have been very critical of the SEC, ACC, and others for proceeding, calling them stubborn. Where's their criticism of the Big Ten's reversal?
Yeah.
You remember Clint Sterner, the quarterback at Arkansas in the late 90s?
I do. STOE or NER.
Yeah. He was a really good player. Quarterback. Played for the Cowboys for a year or two.
Sure did.
He had known Clint for a long time, played against him. Great guy. And he retweeted it and said, "Cats are out here backpedaling like Fred Smoot in '99."
The Smoot.
Isn't that great?
Oh, man.
And people.
Fast Freddie.
Fast Freddie. People still remember Fred for sure, especially those that played against him like Clint. Real quick here, Country Please and text line. Brown Hornet. Matt, I had an opportunity to see that national championship game in person. This is at the end of the 92. He says the television version did it no justice. I don't think there will ever be as dominant a football game as that one. Yeah, I mean, it was like men against boys. Miami had no chance in the ball game. I've never seen a Heisman winner, after winning the Heisman, go to whatever postseason game they're going to play in and be as helpless in the game as Gino Torretta was. And Torretta's a great guy, too. He does a good job on the radio, too. Does some national radio broadcasts. It's not ESPN. I want to say maybe it's Westwood One or something like that. But he does a really good job. Talking about the writer at USA Today, unnamed texter said, Christine has always been against the SEC. She actually had a Heisman Trophy vote and voted for the Big Ten candidate because he was from the Big Ten. She actually stated that. I've never read anything else from her since then. Nor should you.
She probably graduated from Northwestern.
Yeah, most likely.
They have a big-time journalism school there.
Right. Jonathan, Country Please and text line, 885-ESPN. Y'all text me, 885-3776. Darkest day in Big Ten history. He goes, yeah, right there with the whole Sandusky thing, huh? Hashtag say what? JB was telling me that the name Sandusky is actually trending in America on Twitter simply because of what she wrote. Now imagine that. Imagine that. All right. I'm Matt. JB's here. Little ways to go with y'all. Stick around. Be right back.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
a lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. They've got the 360-degree interactive drone touring. It's really cool. You got to check it out. And if you're selling property, Matt's going to get you consistent reports, comprehensive reports of who's looking, how many people looked at your listing. You need to let him help you. Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Call him, 601-408-5155. Hey, if you listen to the show, you know that the new third hour of the Matt Wyatt Show is brought to you by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Here's what you need to know. If you're looking for a weekend home or condo, full-time residence, investment property, maybe just an apartment to lease, you got a student going to school at State, call Kane Overstreet at Overstreet Properties. In Starkville, it's 323-8618, or look them up online, overstreetproperties.com.
Online at 1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
Back on the show. I'm Matt. Here in the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go with the home team. They are your home team, so go with them. Go with the home team at Farm Bureau Insurance all across the state of Mississippi. I've had our family's car, home, and life insurance with Farm Bureau for a long time. Could not be happier. Security, I don't know, having security and feeling secure and safe and everything, safety, that's relative, I guess, for everybody. But, for us, when it comes to life insurance, I guess there are a lot of people out there who, don't need it, don't want it, and that's totally fine. There are also a lot of people out there who, I guess from a security standpoint, they got enough saved and assets and money and all that kind of stuff sitting around that if something happens to them, their family's going to be fine either way. And I guess anybody can make it, but for me, that's not the case with us. I have life insurance with Farm Bureau, and it's, sometimes it does help to head out in the morning, go out, do things, and make trips. That, hey, if something does happen, wife and daughter are going to be able to be okay financially.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I just think sometimes my wife is in a hurry for me to use mine.
Yeah, you catch her like just staring at you out of the corner of your eye.
But she just looks at the statement when it comes in. And I get this much money if you die. I went, yeah.
This much?
How you feeling today, honey?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
here,
like,
here,
have some of these strychnine tablets.
Here's a glass of water.
Yeah.
Go ahead, turn it up. Drink all that now. I know you're thirsty. Be a good boy.
But you're right, man. It is a good feeling to know that if you were to
Right.
Just your time was up. The thing you want, because you're going to be dead and you're not going to be able to think about it.
Mhm.
But you sure do want to plan for your family to be taken care of.
That's right. That's right. And man alive, Farm Bureau Insurance has really helped us with that. So I highly recommend it. Hey! I got another tweet.
The Jackson 5 has a pretty cool version of that.
It's better, if you ask me. I like the Jackson 5 version better. This one from Peter Burns. Thank you, JB, for forwarding this over to me.
You got it.
Peter Burns, SEC Network. He is Peter Burns, ESPN on Twitter. The players and coaches could have wanted to play. The families and fans could have wanted them to play. The politicians could have wanted them to play. But had the medical professionals not come up with better testing, the Big Ten wasn't coming back. And says that those are who, quote, saved the Big Ten. Yeah, and I mean, that makes a lot of sense once they've made the move to cancel it. They'd have to have pretty good motivation to be able to reverse that and bring that back. And, there's some interesting stuff there. I think you could really dial in and peel back the onion on, one of the medical experts who is at LSU, a doctor who advises and as a part of a group, the SEC, and she gave an interview pretty early on when the SEC was making the decision to proceed with testing and practice and getting ready to play. And some people took it as taking a shot, but she just said, well, some of these who've canceled may not be where we are on this. We're a little farther along. She was talking about some of the cardiac testing for myocarditis and understanding of it, all those things. And look, maybe it wasn't hyperbole. Maybe it really is true that the SEC was a little farther along on some of those things. Maybe. Could very well be.
Well, and we don't live on top of each other like a lot of folks in the Midwest and the Northeast.
That's it. That's a really good point.
We don't have mass transit. So, I mean, to me, that's one of the largest contributors to this COVID spread is just mass transit. People don't have access to any kind of transportation unless it's public. So.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate underlying, no denying motivation for why they came back.
Yeah. Yeah, because it would have to support it. They couldn't just make it up. That's right.
Harbaugh would have. But I think he'd have got the support.
Yeah. Well, he wouldn't have gotten it from his governor, would he?
I'm excited because he gets to put on his bike shorts and come out and coach now.
Right.
Jake, I bet Jake has a pair of bike softball shorts in his closet.
I bet he does. With the two buttons on the front.
Two buttons on the front, and he got the short version, not the long Bermuda-style version. Yeah.
I swear. Daggum Jake, man.
I love that boy.
He does a great show, too.
Yeah, he does.
I listen to him in the afternoons on online. I use the iHeart app. I just have it on my phone. I've already saved, 105.9 The Zone as one of my favorites on the iHeart app. And so a lot of times I get done, and I go out and start doing stuff, and I hit the app and just start listening to Jake. The only thing, though, about Jake is he calls Beaver, a lot of times he calls him Mr. Producer.
Mr. Producer, I know it.
I wonder how Beaver feels about that.
I don't think Beaver cares. He just looks at him like, call me Banana Head, whatever you want to call me.
Yeah.
It's
better than Chicken Hawk calling Chris Brooks. What do you call him?
He called him Melon Head.
Melon Head.
Oh,
calls Brooks Melon Head. My father-in-law has a really good friend, Doc Oakman. They live in the Jackson metro area. Great folks. Used to live in Vicksburg. He and Carol Ann. And my father-in-law has been friends with Doc for all these years. And Doc is a big, tall, broad-shouldered, strong guy, Great guy. Great people. But he's got a large head. And I cracked up one day when I realized that the nickname my father-in-law gave him was simply Head. Like they came over to visit, and Doc and Carol Ann walked in, and everybody's like, hey, and then Winky goes, what's up, Head?
It's like that new Hulu commercial with Saquon Barkley and Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Like they look like bobblehead dolls.
What's up, Head? I'm like, and then it hit me. He is calling him Head because his head is large. He's named him Head. That's great.
Did you just start giggling?
Yes.
Figured it out.
Yes. They're great. They're really
Sorry,
great
folks. I got the joke.
Bill on the Country Pleasing text line says Doc and Carol Ann are their neighbors. Did you ever get on their pontoon boat with them, Bill? I think I've been invited, but we haven't been able to make it yet. But I'm going to make it one of these days. They are such kind people. Last year, when we were doing the football dinner, the football film study dinners, the one we did in Jackson, there at Char. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's a great place to eat.
Yeah, it is. And it was a great setup for the dinner. The room was perfect. We had one of those projectors and the screen comes down, and I'm using a little laser pointer. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I think everybody else did too. Roger came. I'm really glad he was able to come. But yeah, and Doc and Carol Ann came and they really helped me. A lot of times my wife would come and she would help get people seated and greet and get things started and all. And she was unable to be there, so Doc and Carol Ann volunteered, and they just came on their own accord and really helped, and that was a big deal to me. What was that? What's that saying? We've said it on this show before. Maya Angelou. People will forget what you say, and people will forget what you do, but they will never forget the way you make them feel.
That's exactly right, pal.
And just them on their own accord coming to help me, which gave me a chance that night to kind of release a little stress and go, it's going to be okay. And just go, I'll never forget the way they made me feel that night. And so Doc and Carol Ann, hope y'all are doing well. Hey, Head. What's up, Head? I'll never forget that.
Maybe I should call you Feets.
I know. I mean, it's like it's the most obvious thing in the world, isn't it? I'm going to call you Hair.
Or less.
I'm gonna call Chris Brooks Calf muscles. Well, we call Jake Recline. That's what I'm gonna call him.
Call me Calf Rope.
Calf Rope. Something with reclining. Y'all stick around.
Storms have recently hit your area. Curious if your roof is leaking? Why choose the rest when you could choose the best? America's Best Roofing. 601-939-999.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No Bowl. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasin' sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' sausage, countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from there. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this
another totally awesome episode for you today.
And it's streaming right now online at thezone1059.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone. And
go. Well, why not? It's been that kind of day. It's been a fun show. Plenty of content. I really think we've had a good show. And JB, we just got the best text on this show we've gotten in a long time.
Yeah, what's that, pal?
I mean, it's just fantastic. It's a text that's full of self-awareness. It's topical because it's about what we were talking about, how people get nicknames based on how they look. And it gives me a chance to hit a button. This is the best text we've had in a long time. From Delta Tide fan, who says, "This is Delta Crimson Tide fan. I've been called beanpole before because I am 6'9" and have no rear end at all." He says, "I'm pretty much a straight line from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet." Yes! 6'9", no rear end at all. And so a little yay Alabama for you, Delta Crimson Tide fan. It's the best text we've gotten all day. JB asked him, can he play basketball? He said, no, I'm too slow, fat, and clumsy. How could you possibly be fat? How's it even possible? Yeah. I wonder if this guy will transfer to Alabama. Michigan quarterback Dylan McCaffrey is opting out and will transfer to another school. Because I don't think he'll go to Alabama. They got a young kid, Bryce Young, who's like the QB of the future and probably will be their quarterback 4 years from now when he's in his third year of actual eligibility. But you never know.
Hey, man, this just came down the wire. Looks like the starting quarterback for Bama and the number 2 guy are going to be out for a while.
What?
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to see what you'd say.
I stepped back from the mic a little bit because I was about to say what's so loud that I didn't need to be close to the mic. I actually stepped back here, all the way back here. I was going to go, what? You almost had me.
I just figure I'd get some of those Tide fans' eyes open real quick.
Hey, that's right. Sorry to scare you like that, Delta Crimson Tide fan. He got so excited he hit his head on the top of the
ceiling.
On the ceiling. He jumped up and
he's doing the opposite of Lionel Richie.
Well,
he's not dancing on the ceiling. He's headbutting the ceiling.
Yeah, headbutting the ceiling. All right. Davini Equipment phone line. Jason out in Flagstaff, Arizona. Thank you, Charlie Pride. Hey, Jason, what's up?
Nothing much. JB just saw some cool points right there. Hey, funny.
Not funny, is it?
he said that, and I saw the Red Sea parting for Dan Mullen down in Florida.
Yes. Yes, and Georgia, who plays Alabama on the schedule, and
all
that. But
yeah, I called. I asked you a question about an hour ago on the text line. I had to step out for a minute. I thought I'd call and ask just outright. The Big Ten is talking about starting to play again, and the Pac-12 is mumbling.
Yeah.
Is there any way for the Pac-12 to fit some games in without using Los Angeles? Because that's the holdup, I think.
Yeah, it has to be. And see, we talked about that a little bit ago, Jason, and JB's first reaction, and I'm kind of the same way, was, how can you see a path forward for the conference, as a conference, without USC and UCLA? Is it some type of, like one of these? All right, as a conference, we're going to start practice. Start date of but we're going to have a schedule where USC and UCLA play road games because we don't want to send our teams in there. Because if you send the teams in there, they got to have a hotel to stay in. And, how are you going to confidently do that? So it's hard to see it. And see, on top of that, I'm not an expert on this, Jason, but see, you've got a portion of that footprint in that Pac-12 who's also dealing with this wildfires thing and air quality stuff and all that. Even if you found a way to start practice now, would USC, UCLA be able to practice?
I don't think they would, just from the COVID thing. They're still, there's a lot of people in Los Angeles that are chasing their own tails and causing that place to be shut down.
You know what I think it also is sort of a commentary on too, Jason? Now, this is just sort of thinking, broad picture here.
Okay.
If we were to look at the Big Ten, I believe confidently that if the Big Ten didn't play this year, they're looking at a situation where it's going to be really hard for them to recruit high-level athletes against the ACC, the Big 12, and the SEC. And it's just hard to convince them to come to your place if they don't play this year. That's just the way it is. But I don't quite feel the same way about the Pac-12 and their recruiting base because, they recruit on the West Coast and they, recruit California and Arizona. They do recruit nationally to a degree, but not as much. It's like the Pac-12 to me, my perception of them is it's still a little more regional, and even if they don't play this year, I don't think they are hurt in the recruiting category as bad as the Big Ten would be. What do you think?
I don't see how it could be hurt. I mean, the big thing is California kids, and they're going everywhere but the California schools out here, or they go out somewhere else. But around the Pac-12, from what I've seen, they're not playing in California anymore. That's a lot of what's wrong with Chip Kelly at UCLA. He can't get the same athletes he got in Oregon.
Right. That's true.
Most of those were from California.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not wanting to stay around.
Yeah, it's like there's inter-conference recruiting battles. But even if you look at, for the Pac-12, if you look at conferences that border them, I mean, the Mountain West isn't recruiting against the Pac-12. The MAC to a degree, whereas it's so much different. I mean, you look at the Big Ten footprint. Look, if Alabama wants somebody in Chicago, they go get them.
I think this says everything about California. Didn't Ole Miss swoop in and plucked Matt Corral from California?
Corral, yes.
Wasn't he from California?
Yeah, he was. Mm-hmm.
And signed to USC or Florida or something like that, just trying to get out of there?
Yeah, you're right.
And they just took him right away.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Hey, how about this? You'll find this interesting. It's on the subject. Less than a minute ago, here's a report from California from somebody that covers USC for the LA Times. He's got a quote less than a minute ago from Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. The quote was, Newsom said, "I want to make this crystal clear. Nothing in the state guidelines denies the ability for the Pac-12 to resume. That's been a misrepresentation of the facts."
Yeah, he gets a bad rap, but I've been watching him. He's tried his best to open Los Angeles for a long time, and the people just will not listen. Every time he tries to open it, the cases skyrocket.
Yeah,
and they have to shut down again.
So is it
everywhere else in California is okay except for right there around Los Angeles?
Yeah,
or maybe not okay, but better.
Right. Somebody on Twitter is making the point that the state guidelines might be a little different, though, than the L.A. County guidelines right now.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Jason, glad you're back. Hope you're doing well.
All right. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
You too, man. Thank you. Antonio Morales, who used to cover Ole Miss here in Mississippi for the Clarion Ledger, he's now covering USC for The Athletic. He tweeted that Gavin Newsom also said that he spoke to Pac-12 Commissioner Larry Scott today, and that he also called the conference the Pac-10. So what? I mean, little slip-ups happen here and there. It's not a big deal. I mean, that stuff happens. We know what they mean.
Hey, man.
Hey.
Just to segue into some NFL, since we hadn't talked any today.
Yeah, right.
I just, the Raiders are having their first home game.
Yeah.
This coming weekend.
With nobody there, yeah.
Yeah, and I pulled up a picture of their stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very state-of-the-art, similar to the one that the Cowboys and the Chargers played in L.A. on Sunday night. But the name of this one, what they call this particular stadium, for the Raiders, the Death Star.
No, really?
Yes. Luke, I am your father.
That's what it looks like, the Death Star. I hadn't seen it, I don't guess.
Yeah. I guess Al Davis will be hovering in the
I tell you,
cruiser.
I am so spoiled, though, and I think there are a lot of people like me. If there's not some amount of fans in there, I just don't want to watch it.
I think it's coming. I don't know if you saw. I sent you a text. Clay Travis is reporting that the Titans will have fans in their stadium for the second home game.
Okay, in Nashville. Yeah. That'd be great.
They didn't say how many, but they said they are going to have.
Some. Yeah.
Live rear ends.
There you go. Stand. Like Kansas City had some fans. I think, you have other markets like Dallas and Miami and places who are going to host games now that they'll have some fans in there. Just some amount of fans makes it so much easier for me, palatable for me to watch it. But without them, it was a giant turnoff.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think a week from tomorrow, it'll be 2 weeks since the Kansas City Chiefs game. And I would say if you don't have a lot of spike in Kansas City amongst those people who went to the game, you'll probably have the number of people elevated that can attend.
That's a really good point. People will watch that and see how that went. Yeah, really good point. Good stuff, JB. Enjoyed it as always,
you too,
sir.
Pal.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
Yep, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. For y'all tuning in, appreciate you. See y'all tomorrow. See ya.